Hello beautiful learners, welcome back to my channel. So I have this question on transformation from advanced maths. It said a given triangle has its vertices given as minus for a coordinate minus 3 comma minus 3, and then for b coordinate minus 1 comma minus 3, and for c coordinate minus 3 minus 1. Now they say, using a scale of 1 centimeter to represent 1 unit on both axes, draw x and y axis for minus 6 less than or equals to x less than or equals to 8, and minus 4 less than or equals to y less than or equals to 8. He says you should draw and label triangle ABC. B, an enlargement with center 0, 0 and scale factor minus 2 maps triangle ABC onto triangle A1, B1, C1. Now you have to draw and label triangle A1, B1, and C1. Then option C said triangle ABC is mapped onto triangle A2, B2, and C2 with vertices A2 as 3, minus 3, B2 3, minus 1, and C2 1, minus 3. Then you should draw and label triangle A2, B2, and C2. Then II for C, you should describe fully the single transformation. And then D, the matrix 1, 0, minus 2, 1 maps triangle ABC onto triangle A3, B3, C3. Find the coordinates of A3, B3, and C3. Then E say a stretch with x-axis as the invariant line and scale factor minus 1 maps triangle ABC onto triangle A4, B4, and C4 with vertices A4 minus 3 and 3, B4 minus 1 and 3, and C4 minus 3 and 1. Find the matrix of this transformation, and the total marks are 12. Alright, first to start with, we have to plot the graph using this limit. For x, it should start from minus 6 to 8, and for y, it should start from minus 4 to 8. Alright, using this information, let's plot our graph. Alright, so let's get to the plotting. Okay, so we're going to be using this space to plot our graph. Alright, so for the x-axis, we're going to be using minus 4 less than or equals to, for the x-axis is minus 6, not minus 4. Minus 6 is less than or equal to x less than or equal to 8. That's for the x-axis. Then for the y-axis, we're going to be using minus 4 less than or equals to y less than or equal to, is minus 6, less than or equal to 8. Okay, so that's good. Let's draw a horizontal line first. Okay, so let's say we have this line, and then let's get our vertical line. All right, so we are taking from minus 6 here, so we can take minus 1, minus 2, minus 3, minus 4, minus 5, minus 6. Then this portion to plus 8. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Then for y-axis, -4, -1, -2, -3, -4. Then for the plus, we have to 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now in exam condition, you are going to be given a graph. You are to put these values for the graph, but for practice purpose, we are doing everything ourselves. Then what I want to encourage students to always do is practice the way I'm doing like this. Don't wait that, okay, maybe you have used your graph in your past questions, and then you just not practice again next time because you have used the graph. No. Highest you could do is clean it and do it over again. But I would advise, if you can just have another plain sheet like this and draw it yourself, there is no harm in drawing this thing at all. So the coordinates for A is -3 and -3. So let's pick -3, -3. So x is -3, y is -3. So you're going to meet, if you trace it, you're going to meet here, right? Okay, so that's for A. Then for B is -1 and -3. So -1, -1 for x, and -3. So they will meet here. So this is B. Then for C, we're going to be having -3, -1. So -3 for x, -1 for y. So they will meet here. So when you join these points, now you're going to be having a triangle that looks this way. And then the final point is this way. So this is your C. So you have done that question, which says using a scale of 1 unit on both axes, draw x and y axis. So you've done that one. Then they show you should draw the triangle. You've drawn the triangle. Now the next question said an enlargement with center 0, 0 and a scale factor of -2 maps triangle ABC onto A1, B1 and C1. So they say we should draw and label triangle A1, B1 and C1. So first they say it is an enlargement, and the enlargement has a scale factor of -2. So bringing the coordinates of A, B and C, which are -3, and you can write it this way even. Instead of that part, you write it this way, 3 and -3, right? Then this for B is -1, -3. Then for C is -3, -1. So we are doing enlargement here, right? Enlargement. And it says it has a scale factor of -2. So to get the A1, B1 and C1, you have to then multiply A by the scale factor, which is -2. So it's going to be like this, -3 -3 times -2, right? So this is going to give us what? The new scale will now be 6 and 6 for A1. So let's trace 6 and 6 for A1. This is +6 and this is -6. So they will meet somewhere here. So this is A1. Then let's do for B1. That means it will be B times a scale factor of -2, which is equals to B is -1 -3, then times -2 will then give you what? Will give you, this times this will give you 2, this times this will give you 6. So we have 2, 6. So 2 for x-axis, 6 for y-axis. They are going to meet somewhere here, right? So that's going to give you your B1. Then for C1, we're going to be having C times minus 2, which is the scale factor, and C is minus 3 minus 1 times minus 2. So it's going to give you 6 and 2, right? So let's trace plus 6 and plus 2. This plus 6 and this plus 2. So when you rise, you meet the horizontal portion at this point. So let's draw the new triangle. So this is going to be C1. So the new triangle will look this way. This, and this. All right, that's our new triangle. So you can see there's enlargement, right? And why is it center 0, 0? Because if you trace any of the corresponding side, you see that they will pass through the origin. So let's try for B. So look at for B to pass through the origin, right? You can see it passes through the origin. For C, it will also pass through the origin to touch each other. So it also pass through the origin this way and touch each other like that. So because this paper is it's a plain sheet, if not it will enter perfectly. All right, so let's go to the next question. The next question said we should do what? Triangle ABC is mapped onto triangle A2, B2, and C2 with vertices this. So we are going to be looking for A2, B2, and C2 using these vertices. So let's write the vertices out for, let's put the what we are looking for first. A1, A2, B2, and C2. What are the vertices? We have for A to be 3, comma minus 3. For B is 3, comma minus 1. And for C2 is 1, comma minus 3. So they said we should draw and label triangle A2, B2, and C2. Okay, so let's use these vertices to draw it. So here x is, recall that this is x and y. So x is positive, y is negative. So plus is here, negative is here. So when you trace horizontal and vertical, they meet somewhere here. So this is A2. And then for B, you have 3 and minus 1. This is same 3, but minus 1. They will meet somewhere here, right? They will meet somewhere here. And then the last but not the least is 1 and minus 3. So 1 here and minus 3 here. They will meet somewhere here. So let's draw the new triangle. So you draw it this way. You draw it this way. You draw it this way. Okay, so this is the new triangle. So this is A2. This value here is C2, and then this is B2. All right, that's how it is. Okay, so the next question, after drawing it, they say we should do what? We should describe fully this single transformation. Before you describe the single transformation, there is another thing you have to look for. Okay, first let's observe, then we'll do the what I say we'll look for. Now if you observe, you see that C was at this portion, but now it came to this portion. So it's that this triangle was rotated this way just one time, right? And this one rotation that goes in this direction is called anti-clockwise, right? Anti-clockwise rotation. And since it was rotated just one quadrant, it is 90 degrees, right? Now, the next thing we are going to be looking for is center of rotation. So let's see, how do you get the center of rotation? If you look at this very well, you see that the distance between this portion to this point and this position to this point are equal. So the center of rotation is taken to be what? 0, 0, which is the origin. However, if you don't know it that way, or if you don't want to estimate it, you can use your compass to see the actual value, right? So this is how it is. You carry your compass, you choose corresponding points. I'll pick B now. Picking B, I'll cut an arc this way, right? For this, then I'll check the corresponding B here again and cut the next arc. Cut the next arc, making sure that my compass maintain the same radius as the first point. So we just add up these to meet, right? Something like that. And then I'll choose another point. Let's say I choose point C. I'll take, so let me just indicate on this one, this point and this point. That will be the first point. Then the next one, I'll use my compass to mark this and down or anywhere they will meet. And then I'll pick that point C here again to cut this and this. So let's join the points where they meet, this point and this point. All right, so let's see to get our center of rotation. So this will cross over this way, our point of rotation. So we have this, and then we're going to be taking this. So you see, because of the fact that we are using a sheet of paper, they miss each other at this point. But if you see, they are closer to the center, so their center is going to be what? 0, 0. But based on what we have here, so if we just want to pick it, we can pick this point. But you can see that this point is absolutely at that point, which is the center. So if you had used your graph sheet, you will get that center perfectly well. So it is at the origin 0, 0, right? So if they say we should describe fully that transformation, that's how we're going to describe it. So let's do the description. Describe fully the single transformation. So that's going to be what? That answer is going to be a rotation at which angle? We have explained it, 90 degrees clockwise, anti-clockwise, and at where? Which angle? Which center of rotation? You see center of rotation 0, what? 0. Now, what we should note is that when you have 90 degrees anti-clockwise rotation, it is equivalent to saying 270 degrees clockwise rotation. So if you use any of this, it's also correct, right? Center 0. All right, now let's go to the next question. The next question said that the matrix 1, 0, -2 and 1 maps triangle ABC onto A3, B3, C3. We should find the coordinates of A3, B3 and C3. Okay, this is how we go about this one. So first, let's write what we were given. The matrix is 1, 0, -2 and 1. The original coordinates are -3, -3. For B, -1, -3. For C, we have -3 and -1, right? -3, -1. Okay. Now, what are we expected to do? We are supposed to relate this matrix to these coordinates to get the new coordinates, right? And then to get the new triangle, which is triangle A3, B3, and C3. Okay, so let's see. If we wish, we can even draw it, but since they didn't ask us to draw it, we will just find the coordinates. So what are we looking for? Coordinates. So I can take it one after the other. If I want coordinate for A3, I can then bring out this matrix and 1. Then I'll bring -3 and -3. Then I'll multiply them together, right? So multiplying this 1 times -3 -3 plus 0 times -3 is 0, right? Then for this, -2 times -3 will give you what? 6. Then plus 1 times -3 will still give you -3, right? Okay, so the coordinate for this is going to end as -3, 6 -3, because plus times minus is minus. -3 will also give you what? 3, right? So we have gotten coordinate for A3. So let's go for coordinate for B3. B3, we'll still use the same matrix. So the coordinate for B is this, -1 and -3. So let's do same multiplication. 1 times -1 will give you -1, plus 0 times -3 will give you 0, -2 times -1 will give you 2, plus 1 times -3 will give you -3. So in conclusion, we're going to be having -1, then plus times minus will give you minus, 2 minus 3 will give you -1. So we're going to be having -1, -1, right? So let's look for C3. C3, let's bring the matrix again, -2 and 1. So let's bring the matrix of C, the coordinate of C, -1. So let's do the multiplication again. Minus and 1 times -3 will give you -3, plus 0 times -1 will give you 0, -2 times -3 will give you 6, plus 1 times -1 will give you what? -1. So in conclusion, we'll be having -3, plus times minus is minus, so 6 minus 1 will give you 5. So these are the coordinates. So if you wish, you can draw it, but it is not asked that we should draw it, right? So the next question said what? That we should find the coordinates. We have found the coordinates. And then the next thing say a stretch, that's option E. It said a stretch with x axis as the invariant line. What does that mean? X axis as the invariant line, that means x is not changing, y changes. And scale factor of -1 maps triangle ABC onto triangle A4, B4, and C4 with vertices A4 to be this, B4 to be this, and C4 to be this. Find the matrix of this transformation. Okay, so there are two formulas that I use for stretch given invariant line, right? So the matrix can be called M. For if X is the invariant line, then we're going to be having the matrix to be, remember we say X, since it's the invariant line, it doesn't change, right? So the matrix will be 1, 0, and then 0 and K. This K is the stretch, this K factor that is given. So if this represent X, this represent Y, this doesn't change, so it remains 1 and 0. But Y changes, that's why there is this value given, which the scale factor will take, right? So the final matrix is 1, 0, 0, and -1. This is what they want us to look for, right? They say we should find the matrix of the transformation. So this is the matrix of the transformation. If you want to check if your answer is correct to get all these coordinates, this is what you should do. First, pick this coordinate 1, 0, 0, and -1. Then bring the original coordinate of A to see if it will transform to this. So original coordinate of A give us -3, -3. So let's bring it -3, -3. So let's check. This times this is going to give you what? -3. Plus this times this is going to give you what? 0. So let's do for this. This times this is going to give you 0. This times this minus first. This times this is going to give you what? 3. So we're going to be having this times this. Okay. So we have this value plus this. So the final coordinate for A4 is equals to -3, 3. So it corresponds with this. So that means this matrix is correct, right? This matrix of transformation is correct. You can also check B. I'm looking for B4 now. So I'm using the matrix of transformation and then the original coordinate of B, which is this, -1, -3. So we're going to be having 1 times -1 will give you -1 plus 0 times -3 will give you 0. 0 times -1 is 0 plus -1 times -3 will give you 3. So you're going to be having -1, 3 for B. Look at it here, corresponded. So this brings us to the end of this question. And if you succeed in doing all this, you're going to be having your 12 beautiful marks. All right, I'll see you in the next video. If you enjoyed this video, remember to subscribe, remember to share, remember to like and comment. All right, bye for now. I'll see you in the next video. I love you all.